Hi, my name is Ben Downing, and I'm here today on behalf of my entire family. First, to thank MOVA for continuing to recognize my father's work to advance a victim's rights, first as Berkshire District Attorney, then as a board member and board chair of MOVA. Thank you, Liam. Thank you to the staff at MOVA. Thank you to the board and the countless public servants and advocates here today working to advance that same mission and those same goals. One of the things my father shared with all of us was that it wasn't just getting justice in the terms of a legal outcome for victims, but rather it was making sure that their experience with the legal process and their experience as the beginning of their healing process was critically important. To that end, I couldn't imagine a better person to recognize today than Tom King. Tom's work through the Mass Children's Alliance is incredible and superlative. And while I could sit here and read his entire resume, his advocacy for the child advocacy centers, his work on any number of statewide boards and commissions, the most important thing I know to me and to my family, and I think the reason he is being recognized here today, is that it was never about that work showing up on a resume or in a presentation. It was about what that work represented for victims, making sure that their interaction with the criminal justice system and that their healing process didn't traumatize them again, but rather was the beginning of learning to deal with this loss and being supported through that in the justice system and in their community. Tom, working with you, I saw that every single day that I was in the Senate. I couldn't imagine anyone else better to recognize with this award. So thank you. Keep up the great work. And thank you to MOVA and all of you who are here today for the incredible work that you do every single day. Thank you very much.
The Gerard D. Downing Leadership Award is presented to an agency leader who's demonstrated unwavering commitment to advancing the rights of crime victims and is recognized by his or her colleagues for their efforts in advancing victim rights. On behalf of the Victim and Witness Assistance Board, I am proud to present this award to Tom King. Tom has served as the Executive Director of the Massachusetts Children's Alliance for the last 16 years. Under his directorship, MACA has become the epicenter for innovation and the go-to agency for services to child victims of child sexual abuse. In addition to promoting and securing state-of-the-art programming for children, Tom has been a tireless advocate for proper funding. When we were facing expected cuts to the Victim of Crime Act grants, it was Tom who spearheaded a programmatic response to support the legislative advocacy work needed to bring attention to the impact these cuts would have on victims and survivors. He represents the work of children's advocacy centers on so many forums and uses these opportunities to elevate the voices of child victims, as well as the voices of those professionals who have dedicated their lives to putting child victims on a path to healthy living and justice. It's for all these reasons that I'm so proud to present this year's Gerard D. Downing Leadership Award to Tom King.
Well, I am so completely honored and humbled to be the recipient of the Gerard D. Downing Award this year from the Mass Office for Victim Assistance. It is a particularly meaningful honor for me, as I am familiar with the former District Attorney of Berkshire County and the work of his son, Ben Downing. He is an advocate for our work at the Berkshire County's Kids Place for many, many years. And so it is particularly meaningful for me to be the recipient of this award, and I thank you all. I want to particularly thank the Victim Witness Assistance Board, the Executive Director of the Mass Office for Victim Assistance, Liam Lowney, who is a true champion for victim rights and for services that are going to help children, adults, elderly heal and get onto a life that is fulfilling. I also really want to thank the Attorney General, Maura Healey, for presenting this award to me. I hold the Attorney General in high esteem as someone who continuously elevates the voices of those who most need it. So thank you very, very much. This is not an award one gets by working in a vacuum. I have the extreme privilege of being the leader of the Massachusetts Children's Alliance. We are the coalition of the 12 children's advocacy centers across the state. I have the extreme privilege of elevating the work and speaking of the work of those multidisciplinary team partners throughout the state, so that no matter if a child is coming from Pittsfield or Provincetown, the response that children get in Massachusetts after a horrible event is met with compassion and skill from law enforcement, prosecutors, Department of Children and Family investigators, mental health professionals, and medical professionals. Victim witness advocates play a critical role in making sure that those families can navigate the court system and be connected with critical services in the community. It has been an incredible privilege to hold this post for the last 16 years and to see how our work is expanded to children who are trafficked for the gain of adults, and to help those children come back into society and to give them the supports they need. That important work is supported by Victim of Crime Act money, and we are ever advocating with the State House to ensure that that critical funding is supported and there for when our most vulnerable citizens need to access it. I also am quite proud to be from Massachusetts and the envy of many other states for the way we are able to work through agencies, governmental, nonprofit, from really small nonprofits to large systems, working together to ensure that those folks in Massachusetts who need services are getting them. And they don't need to know the system that they're getting involved in. All they know is that they're greeted by someone with compassion, a high level of skill, and they can forge a trustful relationship with these folks so that their journey can be one of health, justice, and prosperity. Thank you again for this honor. I am so humbled by it. And I have to end by thanking some other people that are very, very important. The MOVA staff, who have elevated their work and worked in untenable situations during the pandemic to ensure that we were able to provide as much assistance to the centers as we could. I'd also like to thank my family, that without the support of my family, I certainly wouldn't be here today and doing the job that I love. I'd also like to thank my partner, Frank Giuliano, for all of the support and love that I've been given. So again, I can do a job that I really, really love. Thank you so very much.